Welcome from the break. This is The Dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo, and on the show this morning, Richard Baguma Tinkasimire is with us. Honorable Waswarule, a veteran politician, is with us, but we also have Dr. Gerard Wedihe Wanzala, still looking at the process that introduced and approved the passing of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, highly criticized as draconian in one way, especially and particularly the provisions which empower the court martial to try civilians. And that has always and still remains the bone of contention. It still stands, and from the security circles, it is celebrations saying it is going to save our country from people who have been involving themselves in issues relating to the military. It will be very criminal. It will be criminal now, as it has been anyway, to conspire or work with the army. When you're a civilian, you will find your way and yourself in the court before the court martial. Some clothings have been gazetted now in the law, directly in the law. The shoes, the counter suits, and all that, which are military wear. You find you are found in possession of those attires, you will be liable to trial in court martials. Well, still looking at what now lies ahead is our task this morning, and we'll look at the comments that are coming in before we kick off the discussions for this second hour. I'm looking at someone here in Imbale, James in Imbale. He's watching and says, "Good morning, Mr. Polo. I only pity the electorates who are always deceived with tangible things like a sacket of salt, a piece of soap of 1,500, and yet these guys sign 100 million each to downfall their electorates. That law is good because it will affect even those MPs. I even believe a half of them may not see parliament next term. Send my regards to Dr. Masaba in Kisugu." James in Mbade, thank you so much for watching. Actually, I read the statement somewhere, and somebody was, I hope it was a joke. She said that the MPs who passed the law, at one point, perhaps they forgot that they are also civilians. Anyway.
The aliens.
Okay, and expanding the army's role in government could lead to militarization of politics, undermine civilian oversight, and potentially infringe on individuals' rights and freedoms. This perspective highlights concerns about the potential consequences of increasing the army's influence in governance. I totally agree with Richard. He is Emmanuel in Manafa. It could be happening. The military's influence is being expanded and institutionalized in politics and governance. I'm still looking at messages coming in. Okay. And he says, "Good morning, Mr. Polo and the team. Listening to the various comments and discussions regarding the PDF Act, I think many like me get confused or lost. I have these questions. One, who represents the people and who doesn't? I hear one group claiming to do so. Two, who decides who is wrong and who is right? Each side claims to be right. Lastly, if the decider of who is right or wrong exists, who corrects him or her when he or she decides wrongly?" I am just asking. This is Reverend Jimmy Manyindo in Fort Portal. Thank you so much. And I don't know if any of you can respond to this latest comment. I also can I say
I think he says he's confused. He said he's confused, but the Reverend raises questions. Who is right? Who is wrong?
And who decides who is right or who is wrong?
I think it all depends on sometimes the context. Like when we are discussing the dangers of this bill, some of us are looking at history. We have had a history here of making laws with eyes, because the lawyers
is he saying we are somehow bringing rugezigezi in issues? Maybe we don't know.
Not, that's why,
probably. Let me add to what it is. Let's take this particular UPDF Amendment Act. This UPDF Amendment Act, the Committee of Parliament was in its legal boundaries to consult the way it consulted. And this is the consultation. It has 45 days.
Minimum. To process the bill.
I mean, not even maximum, because you can go even beyond if you want. But I think they did it in 4 days. Or even 2. They met 3 state agencies.
The Defense, Ministry of Defense?
I think they asked the DPP to come. Even the DPP had refused, first, and said, no, I don't have the bid itself. I don't have.
And one lawyer.
So they had 3 state institutions and one quote unquote non-state institution, a lawyer called Jude. Somebody. So this was the level of consultation. This was the adequacy of the level of consultation on this important bill. 3 state institutions and 1 individual lawyer. How adequate is that, Mr. Wifran? This must be very adequate consultation for such an important law. And so when you say right or wrong, why I don't allow for me to be put in a corner. I am telling you that this, in my view, and according to all manner of people, the media, social media, outside people, our donors, our what, it was the president. This is a very important act. And we had a maximum of 4. 3 government institutions and 1 non-state lawyer. So if we come and say this was very adequate, aren't we ridiculous?
Okay, thank you so much, Richard. And
I wanted to add on what Richard was said.
Please do.
The issue of application of these laws based on precedents. We passed here the anti-terrorism law. There are some sections that were put there. At that time, it's Winnie Byanyima, Agura Awori who were opposing the law. The moment it was assented to, the first person to be charged under the law was Winnie Byanyima. Because she was so noisy at the time. We have seen this, I think this is the 4th or 5th time Besigye is being charged in the court martial. So, and then you have seen politicians like Kabaziguruka and others, then the NUP people. And so, while we agree that the court martial is relevant to the discipline of the army, it is not fair for the civilians.
All right, Richard, going ahead, after the bill now has been passed, and like I said, we can all agree that the president will sign it or has already signed it, and it will take effect anytime. I want you to relate to a very latest report from security that the security forces are closely monitoring emerging rebel groups in the country. It is from the Ministry of Defense that has been released, I think this morning or last evening.
Who issued it?
Chris Magesi, the spokesperson, acting spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense and UPDF. And in the report, they say the security agents and intelligence services have, over the past few months, arrested and interrogated several suspects with links to organized armed rebellion, plot to bomb populated public places, and economic sabotage through vandalism of electricity infrastructure lines in some parts of the country, especially in central Uganda. I can't read it, it's very huge, but let me pick another one here. Some of the arrested suspects previously passed off as opposition political party activists, especially of the National Unity Platform Party. Like I said, the statement is so huge, but it also implicates the German ambassador to be funding or supporting these rather subversive activities. Now, what do you read from these incidents happening? Like you said, could be this bill and its processes could be political, like you said, and what now we are picking from the security forces.
Yeah, you see, when I say laws are political, the laws are not made by the judiciary.
Yeah.
They are made by a political organ. Yeah, they are political. So otherwise they would be made by judiciary who are supposed to have expertise in judicial matters. But laws are made by politicians because they respond to political situations. And so it's about power, governance, you know. And so that's one. Two, Western governments are not weak. No, Western governments are not weak. And they generally, they keep record. Western governments keep record. They've been here for quite a while. So, and like I always say, you can't know. You cannot say this is untrue. Maybe the envoy was involved in this. We know that oftentimes, if you take like almost all the coups that happened after independence and when there was always a foreign hand. If you read a lot of the books that the NRA combatants, including the president, you would see a foreign hand. We got some rifles from here, we got intelligence or whatever from here. So it is possible, and it happens all the time, that for whatever reasons, envoys get involved in matters in the countries where they are. What is unique in this case, in my view, is the nature of communication. Yeah, around it. Usually, and some situations are unusual, but usually diplomatic engagements will be activated, and especially when there is evidence. But you can see that we are in different times. That a visiting head of state comes to visit another head of state on invitation, and somebody brings out a video with graves along the road of another country. We are in strange times. The mighty president of the United States invites this African giant, South Africa, and starts playing a video. I said, Mr. President, do you know where this is? He says, this is in your country, South Africa. Yeah. Graves, white, lined along the roads on this side and this side is South Africa. How could that not be known by South Africans? So, Apollo, we are in very strange times. So it's the practices that we know, the diplomatic practices, the etiquette that we know has been torpedoed. These are new times. The fact, of course, at the meeting in Gulu, I think the German ambassador was one of those most forceful. Yeah. In voicing the EU ambassadors
demanding for apology.
Yeah, the EU ambassadors' displeasure at what's going on. So probably it is to say, I mean, look, guy, you're not the cleanest. No, and we know. Maybe your forcefulness is being influenced. But the nature of communication, the approach for me is could be done different.
But looking at these.
But to say that they are rebel groups, Apollo, I wanted to comment.
Yes, I mean, especially the timing.
The NRA was a rebel group. So what's new? This man's father was a rebel.
Yeah, he supported NRA.
He was the president of Uganda and then a rebel.
I was a rebel.
This man was a rebel himself. So please, and since then, how many rebellions, how many rebel groups? 27 that they say they have defeated for the last 40 years. So that having rebel formations is not.
But I'm looking at the timing. We are in the middle of a political season, and here we have now intelligence reports emerging at this point in time, then a law, very serious law, is being passed. What do you read, as we move forward?
No, first of all, for me, if you say there are rebel groups forming, they have been forming. And we have heard about them. Some of them, the people claim they are ghost rebel groups. Some of them, people come out and confess. So that has been happening. And when there is, in my view, I think when you have higher political contestation, you are more likely to have rebel thoughts and formations. So that one wouldn't be my shocker. Mine is our diplomatic behavior. Yes. How are we approaching these issues? And if it is informed by, say, what you are doing is undiplomatic, we are going to be undiplomatic too.
All right. Apollo Uganda olimwa enongosereza muteeka ly'okulonda nekati lyagaana naye lino within 1 week done. I am
4 days.
Okay, he calls himself an ex-convict. Thank you. That is, and thank you for participating. Yiga Samuel Mere says, Mr. Polwebale kuweereza, court martial would have been for disciplining honorary soldiers. Otherwise, we need legislators who are pro-people in order to make thorough scrutiny before enacting laws which are against the general public. Actually, I still... Okay. I understand. Thank you so much. There's a message I got. Okay. Honorable Waswale, going forward, what does this speak to the rule of law in Uganda and the political future of this country? Because I'm told in any time we may have a live feed, a live broadcast. His Excellency the President, in the small screen you can see he's attending a function in Gomba, and we will switch to his speech when he starts. Please.
You are talking about rebel, some statements saying that they are rebel groups.
Yeah.
And quite rightly, as Richard pointed out, we've had more than between 20 and 30 rebel groups. So the current government is not worried about organized rebel groups. I think what might be of concern is something that I personally might have picked up, in that you said you see me on the village, walking about. You know, you have to interact with the Bataka.
Yeah.
But when I move further, I begin to ask questions and interact with people and get to hear what they're saying. So the concern is not about organized rebel groups, because those have never been a match for the NRA, UPDF. The concern is the dislocation from the public, the government from the public. And when you interact with the members of the public, you see something like this bill has been passed, and there has been no debate. Firstly, it is to deny information to the public, but the public is watching. And when you want to find out information, just take a border and move around, and network on Radio Katwe. You'll hear.
What do you hear when you walk around?
Precisely. The public is not happy
About this law?
Yes, the public is aware of the transition. The public is also looking on. They know, the public knows their power. Well, this is a power game. It's politics. It's a power game. It's got nothing to do. This thing that they went and passed something in Parliament, it is totally meaningless. Right? It's just a formality. The question is, what is the public thinking, and what? I got an interesting comment some time back when I was moving from Kampala back home. I picked a border ride that was passing by, and you know, these people, they talk and tell me, yes, for us we are waiting. They said, "Tulinda omunafu ajje." I don't know what the comment means. but it gives you an indication that the people are not sleeping. They see these laws being passed. They see the 100 millions being dished out. They see the corruption that is going on, the human rights abuses, this exposure of the Mulago Hospital, whereby some people go abroad for their treatment and others, even very senior officials in government, cannot even afford the facilities. They see all that.
The opposition have vowed to go to court to challenge this law and the process.
Representing who? Because the public is not interested.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not going to sort anything out. If people are telling you that they are waiting for a situation to change, what are they waiting for? They're not waiting for people to go to court. In a court where you're even the judiciary, as much as they try to be independent, are not allowed to be independent. I saw a fist fight in
court
yesterday,
in magistrate's court in Nakawa.
In Nakawa, in magistrate's court.
I don't know who was boxing who.
It's not clear. This is the
There were supporters of
I got the story. I think you are also aware of that story. That as the supporters of Besigye were waiting for him to appear in court, suspicious faces arrived also in court. So when they entered, these people because they live in fear, they thought, oh, these guys must be the drone guys have come to pick us. And then I think Ingrid Twinawe got
started filming
her phone and started filming. So they immediately
responded.
The strange men responded by jumping on her and trying to confiscate the phone. So her defense had to take on the security operatives. That's why they were that fight. It was between the civilians and security operatives
and the suspects.
Just a second. Before I cross over again to Doctor, what is your judgment of what lies ahead?
What lies ahead? What lies ahead? First of all, I'm more likely to be on a plane to go on a holiday. Yes, round about a certain time. You can see what is coming in their head when you talk to the members of the public.
A holiday for how long?
Until things settle. Because you see, I see dark clouds. When you interact with members of the public, they are pointing to dark clouds in the future. I've got no control of what is coming, but I can see the confrontation between a few people in government, right, who believe that they wield power, and the public. That conflict is not a good conflict. It's good to witness it from a long distance. But
okay, you decide to play safe and find safety somewhere.
The point is that that conflict is real, right? And it is only a matter of time.
Dr. Jerry Luhanzala, I am sure, and you must be also sure, that the activists, lawyers, law society, and will run to court, and possibly they are busy now drafting petitions to petition. Now it must be the Constitutional Court, where this issue actually had been. It's not new in the Constitutional Court. This same issue. What do you expect?
Apple, I support those who go to court because I believe that laws that are deemed to be against the Constitution, against the basic principles of independence of the judiciary, laws that violate rights of individuals have to be challenged legally. I agree with that. But it shouldn't be the only strategy because, like the Honorable said, this is a political question. Political questions are solved politically. And so I believe that many of us who are public about these things and are speaking against these things, I think we are not in very good times. We are not very good times. But we shall talk anyway because this is our country. One thing for me that I always say is to ensure that as much as possible, I'm not involved in confrontation with the law. But something that is within the law, I will try to express myself. But then, looking at how the context has been and how it has been changing, this petition will go to Constitutional Court. It will take us about 10 years. And then those who want the law might have achieved their short-term political objectives. Because you can see that we have been in the court over this Kabaziguruka case. It started with the Besigye in 2005. So over 10 years, we have been in the court about the same. So probably those who push, and I can assure you that I was around the parliament this week, the MPs expressed real fear. And then I was talking to one member of parliament and said what, and asked, why are you people so much in fear? He said that we only have two options. Either to reject the money and stand independent, or take the money and disappear. But taking the money and disappearing is very dangerous. So at least if we have taken the money, then you appear there and at least shout and you go home. And then he told me that many of them now don't want to appear on any media house because they are aware of the insults they are getting from the population because of some of the decisions they are undertaking. So, to be honest, we are in a phase which is very unpredictable.
All right, viewers, this is the dialogue. We still invite your comments and observations as we keep an eye on what is happening in Gomba district. His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Museveni Tibuhaburwa Ruhembo Gwenjura, is presiding over an event there, and the moment he takes to the podium, we'll be switching live to have his speech across to you. And I can see there are still, I think we still have time. Let's have your comments and observations. I like this one coming in. Thanks for the program, Prince. Maybe some of us, we don't understand that UPDF bill, because if you know you don't have a gun, or you don't suspect to have it, or an army uniform, why do you fear that UPDF bill? Means there is something behind. If you are innocent, let the army have their court to those criminals. Anyway, that has been, yeah, you can answer, because that has been.
We have had here cases involving two politicians. The Winnie Byanyima case was that a pistol was picked behind her house, you know, and then she was charged with terrorism. We have had the issue of Kabaziguruka, that the guns were dug in his compound. So supposing tomorrow a thug, actually it happened 2 years back in my place, in Mobutu. Some thugs went and dropped guns, either they were on a chest behind someone's home, and then the owner of the home picked them the next show and then called the police. After seeing them, police interrogated, collected him, and they realized he was free, and they picked the guns and went. But now, where it involves politicians, it becomes suspicious. You see the case being prolonged, suggestions of court-martial, and that guy I know very well there, who is a peasant, would have been in the court-martial. But after interrogation, he was let off the hook.
So you're talking about cases where there's even fake evidence. But that, if you take that bill, there's no, you see, when you are accused, there's no procedure of establishing that there's a reasonable basis to believe that you either had a gun or bullets or whatever. The point is that all that is required is for you to be accused, and anybody can be accused, right? You can be accused of having committed a crime, right? And then you will prove that you are innocent later. So anybody is subject to this law in that respect. I was talking to some people in my garden, and I was saying that, in fact, it was a journalist. Somebody can throw bullets over the wall and walk around, go through the gate, come and say that, look, we suspect that there's a military
Stores
around here. And of course, he knew exactly where they pushed it over the fence.
So the fear is these military stores planted.
No, not planted. It is the fact that this bill can be applied arbitrarily.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's the arbitrary application of law, so that all you need to do is to say, is that the person we are looking for?
All right.
Right. You accuse them, then they prove later.
Thanks for the show.
Remember, in the early days of this government, there was that attempt to introduce a law whereby when you are accused, it is up to you to prove that you are innocent. Now that you mentioned the one legal person who was consulted on this bill was a civilian.
Yeah.
I remember him during the case of the former Prime Minister Babazi.
Council Judy Byamukama.
Yes, at the end of that trial, he made some prolonged statement. And part of that statement, I remember very clearly, where he said that they should change the law whereby the person who is accused of in that electoral law should be the one to prove. And
I think the head of state has taken to the podium, and we will cross over to Gomba. Thanks for the show. In the military, they were trained to observe order from above. At that point, we will be the it will be the who will be the judge when trying civilians in court martial. Patrick Waguma, that has been sorted, and it will be a trained lawyer who will preside over the court martials. I now want to hear my producer. If we are ready, we will be crossing over to Gomba. But Richard, thank you so much for taking part in this discussion.
Very welcome. Tell that one who was asking that we are hiding something. Tell him not to put on a counter suit.
Let's hear my producer. Get that sound through if you're ready. I hear it. So that we hand over to somebody, our team in Gomba. If you're not ready, then we will conclude. Let's conclude, Richard. Going to court, we didn't make a difference.
No, Apollo, there is nothing court about this law.
Okay.
There is nothing legal in my view. This is a political act.
Thank you so much, our viewers. We now hand over to the team in Gomba. His Excellency the President will be speaking at that function. Thank you so much, my panel. Thank you so much, my production team, and the viewers who sent in their comments on observations. Follow us on WhatsApp, on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. You'll review this program. My name is Prince Apollo. Good afternoon.